Hi everybody, we're back. We have another series, and this is a special series. This is going to be really about life and death. And we have the Honorable Mr. Bill Perkins here with us to guide us on the path of voting and every little thing that we can do to fight all the obstacles that are coming at us right now. And I want to thank you so much for being here, sir, with us to share and help us, fight for our lives right now and do what's right for the whole country, everybody.
Well, thank you so much for being so conscious about that and taking steps through this program and the kind of work that you do with others to bring us all together in any way that we can to try to address what's happening, especially under this new Trump administration. And so we first met him, I guess, in the era of the Central Park Five.
Yes.
When he tried to return the death penalty against these 5 young people from the community for false allegations about a rape that took place that they did not do, but they were falsely accused, and he called for the return of the death penalty for them. Obviously, he was totally wrong because the real perpetrator of the crime actually confessed, and he confessed out of a sense of guilt that others were going to be punished for the crime that he committed. So he said, I'm the one who did it. And as a result, the Central Park Five were found innocent, and Donald Trump was, in a way, guilty for accusing them of something that they did not do, and even calling for the return of the death penalty against them. So he's our president now, and obviously we have to deal with him, but we also have to not simply focus on him. We also have to focus on what we can do, as we are doing right now, in terms of talking with each other and communicating with your listening audience, in terms of what are the measures that can be taken to strengthen ourselves and our communities and our families. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here with you in that regard.
No, I can thank you for being here, to taking the time out to tell the world about all these things that we can do, because these steps that, I really would like you to break it down, step number 1, 2, 3, and so forth, until our time runs out, really, basically. And because this is so important, because people are suffering right now.
Sure, they're suffering, and we need to do something about it. There's no magic bullet, so to speak, or medicine that will automatically change the situation. We have to be realistic in that there are steps we can take. Some are simple, some are more complex, but the minimum we should be all doing, with all due respect, is if we're of age, we should be registering to vote.
Absolutely.
And we should make sure that our friends, family, and neighbors are doing the same if they're entitled to do so. Because after all is said and done, right now we are living in a democracy where decisions about who runs this city, who runs this state, who runs this country are made at the ballot box.
That's right.
And that's why we have to make sure that, as hard as it may seem to win, especially when you have a Donald Trump sometimes turning out to be the winner, we should not despair, and we should not lose faith in the process, and in each other. And we have to do our own due diligence to make sure that we are participating in the process.
Absolutely.
But we are participating as voters, we're participating in organizing our buildings, organizing our neighborhoods, and getting involved. And that also includes, as parents and as neighbors, getting involved with our public schools and helping our young people understand the value of their public education so that they can one day wind up in the seats of influence and understanding that will not only better their lives as individuals, but also the lives of their community. So I think we're in good shape. I think we have challenges in front of us, but I think we're able to meet those challenges as long as we continue to be in dialogue with each other. I want to thank you so much for this program that enables the community to participate and to be engaged and know what's going on and what can be done to make things better.
And they also have this, when the people know that they're going to be out of town or whatever, this ballot vote with the
absentee ballot.
So there really should never be an excuse. Is that right? That people should make the cause, no matter what,
Sure. Where's this? I can understand sometimes why people lose faith or feel that voting doesn't make a difference, because sometimes, no matter whether you vote or not, a Trump might wind up president. But that is not a reason not to vote. That's a reason to even more so vote.
Absolutely.
You don't want a certain type of personality that is against our community, against our city, or whatever, to wind up being elected because we didn't do all we could to get the right person in place.
Right, because we definitely need health care. These things that we definitely need, I don't know.
Our children need the best
to
public
take care of our
schools.
universe.
The public school system in our cities and in our state, you know, they need a lot of help, and our children especially are going to need it because they're going to be their avenue to success.
Absolutely, being healthy.
And being healthy, your health is your wealth.
Absolutely.
And you try living without it,
Yeah.
and you'll see. But and so we need to be able to have the kind of people elected to office on whatever level that are aware of these kinds of concerns and are committed to them, no matter how the challenges may be. And it may seem that sometimes our problems are too difficult to conquer. But I think if we continue to be united and talking to each other, especially on programs like this, that we can begin to formulate some ways to make a difference.
Right. Now, I've heard some disturbing conversations from the elderly people thinking that now that they're bringing in all of these new machines and everything, that they have something triggered, not allowing especially in the South and other places where the black people's votes that do come out and votes are being thrown away in that count. Can you give us an insight on that? I know that...
I guess some people feel that way. You know, we have had an experience historically in which sometimes machines were rigged or the process was rigged.
Is that possible now, you think?
It's always possible. It's always possible, but I don't think we should worry.
Okay.
I think we should be vigilant.
Okay.
And we should go to the polls and do what we want to do in terms of voting, and we should keep the faith.
Absolutely.
And if in fact we find that something is amiss, that something is wrong, then they should get in touch with my office or any other elected official's office and make a complaint so that we can investigate and arrest those who are perpetrating these crimes of rigging.
Exactly, even if it's from Russia or these other countries.
Well, especially if from there. Especially if from there. But so I have confidence that we will be able to overcome these types of technical or even criminal activities.
Absolutely criminal.
Because the democratic process is one that we want.
Right.
Our people want to see it in action. They want to be a part of it. They look forward to it. And in some elections, you'd be shocked to see how many people online waiting in order to get into the polls because of how important that election they know it is, not just to themselves, but to their neighbors, to their family, to their country, to their city. And so we need to just be vigilant about that and make sure that every election is done in the proper way and that we take no excuse for not voting.
Exactly.
Because that's the only way in a democratic process that you can really have power. Otherwise, you might have to get a gun, and we don't want that.
We don't want that. Illegal.
Well, we have problems with that.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure, especially our young people who are the future, that they understand this process, that they understand that it's a process designed for them to take over and to be a part of it. They'll be the next presidents, the next governors, the next mayors, the next council persons, whatever the case may be, the next teachers, the next professors, the next doctors, and so on and so forth.
And that's excellent.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying really is that even these primaries and these smaller strategies and times to get out and vote are necessary and very important.
Yeah, every
Just
time.
as big as the president's election.
Every election is the same, is equally important. Even though there's a big difference between being a president and, let's say, a council person or something like that. But all these different elections mean that the people have an opportunity to make the decision about their family, about their community, about their city, about their state, about their country. And that is an opportunity that everybody doesn't get in all parts of the world.
Oh,
and
sure,
so
surely not.
It's something that we earned the hard way.
Right. We died
for it.
Right.
And so we need to respect those whose lives were taken in sacrifice that we might be able to do that they could not do. And that we might be able to succeed where they could not even get in the door.
That's right.
And so I'm honored that I have the privilege, thanks to you and others, to do this kind of work. And I would hope that we can continue to get our young people to appreciate the opportunity and in turn onto the opportunity as a possibility for a career for themselves.
That's exactly true.
And any young people that you know that you think want to be involved in the community and in the political process, I would hope that you would let them know that my office is available to them.
Okay,
To
absolutely.
help them with that.
And help them get into like
Get
little
into
internships.
it. Internships, whatever the case may be, however it may be useful. We'll come to their school, we'll come to their house of worship, whatever they are, we want to be.
Right.
And we want them to ultimately take over.
Absolutely.
You know, we want to make sure.
We want to leave our world in
their
safe
hands. In their hands.
That's right. It's very important.
Yeah, so to take it to the next level.
That's right.
So we look forward to that, and anything you can do or to let your listening audience know.
Right, absolutely.
How to be in touch with our office.
Right now, give them your office number, your email address. Let these young people, let these people know that there is a place for them to go. They don't have to be afraid to bring about justice, to be in the process of for justice. Because, well, at least right now, as far as I know, we haven't gone to vote and they haven't shot us down there. Or,
no, not yet. That's not.
We know that they've done things like that in our churches and things like that. But as far as we know now, it's just as far as going to vote, they haven't just outright murdered us.
We have to operate under the assumption that we have a right.
Yes.
And therefore, we have to fight
absolutely.
to maintain that right. And you know, the civil rights movement and our elders from the past fought to get us in these seats.
That's right.
In front of this TV, in front of this opportunity. And so we have to make sure that we do what we can to maintain it and to pass it on to other young people that might have the right and the opportunity, the skills and the wherewithal to do it themselves. And so we hope that through this program that they will understand that we're here for them and that we want them to be in the forefront.
Absolutely.
Not in the back seat of this movement and to ultimately take charge of that. And by the way, for those of you that might want to reach out to my office, I'd like to ask you to contact me at 212-678-4505. That's 212-678-4505. That's my direct number to my office, and so do not hesitate to call 212-678-4505. We look forward to hearing from you, finding out from you what you need and also what you would like to be able to do to strengthen your opportunities and the opportunities of others in the community for their housing, for employment, for better education, for whatever is important for them to have the kind of lifestyle that they're worthy of. So please don't hesitate to give us that call, 678-4505, area code 212. Councilmember Bill Perkins. Look forward to hearing from you.
So please write that down. That's very important. Then the other thing is we need to strengthen our community, and you're right about that. You notice years ago you would see people helping the elderly get out to vote, the people that, for whatever reason, outlived their children or whatever. The neighbor would go next door and get them and take them out to the voting place. And you don't see that. It's very rare now.
Well, it's not as much as maybe before, but we still see some of it. People who are, what's happening is sometimes there are groups that are organizing, like senior groups, to bring their van to a spot where the seniors can come and get in the van and then they drop them off at the polling sites.
Okay.
And that way, then they pick them up, and they, you know, so there's some of that going on. But I tell you something, you don't have to worry about the seniors in terms of voting because they are the best voters. They are,
really?
Yeah, they believe in it. Oh yeah, believe me.
Well,
if you look at the polls, if you look at the vote, and you can kind of get a sense of who votes and who doesn't vote, and the polls reveal that. Our seniors are doing their part of the job. We need to get our younger people to have the faith. See, the seniors know, and they're keeping the faith because they were there when they couldn't vote, and they knew what the difference is, and so they're the best voters.
Okay.
And with all due respect to everybody else, but they are the ones that truly know the value of it. They struggled for it.
Okay.
They remember the day when they couldn't even not only not vote. There's some places they couldn't go in because they wasn't white.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't order a meal.
Right.
Good something.
So they're a good role model. They've persevered and they've kept the faith, and thank goodness they've made a difference. Because if it wasn't for their vote, you know, a lot of folks that have been elected would not have gotten elected. You know, even when we stand so proud about the idea of a black president like Barack Obama, we have to understand that he, as much of a genius as he was, he couldn't have gotten it if there were not some humble geniuses who were our elders, who understood the value of that vote and kept the faith and moved to get others to participate and ultimately it resulted in him becoming a president.
You know, in this America, and
Sorry.
I vote all the time anyway, no matter what, because if I feel personally like if I don't take a step, then I don't have the right to complain about anything. If I don't at least try and give my 2 cents with when I select my Democratic Party on what I think is best for the world at large, then I know that when things are negative, I can't be one of those people on the side complaining and know that I wouldn't even go to the vote box.
That's an important message that you've just given out. That is really the key that we all need to understand. We all have and it's so easy. It's not like you have to pay to vote.
Right.
it's just usually not too far from where you live.
Right.
And
supposed to be near where you live.
It is near where you live, generally speaking. And even if you can't go in person, you can always send it in the mail.
Absolutely.
And it's also, when you go to vote, bring somebody bring a young person with you so they see it and they can get that process and start practicing that process with you. But we're coming along, we're doing much better, and I'm very confident that the next generation and generations will do even more better and that we will overcome.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yeah. And in that, just with that and the prayer, I know that we lost a great one in Aretha Franklin. And then her prayers and respect and respecting each other. And just the idea that she was there when Mr. Obama became the president.
That was tremendous. Yes, that was tremendous.
And that's a strong message right there, because I don't know too many of our greats that, you know, didn't have a good say, whether young or old. The young people too, the John Legends, the young people, they're all out in force, you know. So if you don't watch TV, then get on your computer and ask yourself, when is the day to vote? Because these kids too, that's the other problem. The technology, very rarely pick up the paper or read. And so they may not be informed because they're so busy into their games and to all of these things that they're doing.
There's always some distractions for young and old, for that matter.
But I know that generally those young people
we need them as more involved. In fact, we need them in leadership.
Yeah, so they have to pay attention a bit more.
They have to pay more attention. But some of them are. Some of them are lining up to get on the line to vote, lining up to get involved in some of the community activities. And we see more and more of that happening. And they even going out and recruiting their friends and neighbors.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
So it takes time, but by the same token, you know, it's not just the young people that need to do more. Even the folks who are parents and middle age, they sometimes don't go to the poll either. And so their role.
I can't figure it out. Why is that? It's
a little hard to say. It's not so simple.
I mean, if they're working and the people won't let them get out on the job, but they
can get out on the job. Yeah, the law allows you to take some time off to go to work, or you can vote on a paper ballot and send
early in the morning before you even go to work. They open
at
so early.
6 o'clock you can go. But even if you don't want to do it that way, you can always get a paper ballot and send it in, and they'll count. A lot of people don't know that, or some people know it, but they don't have faith that it'll be counted. But it's counted. We know for sure they count them. I think we're seeing an improvement in voting, so people are getting to do more and more of it, and so we're optimistic that the numbers will keep growing in terms of the participation. And very often what's happening is sometimes folks are bringing young people with them, you know, the children, the grandchildren, if they're of age, and even if they're not of age, they'll go and see the process.
Yes.
And they'll say one day, I want to be able to do that too, Grandma.
Right.
You know, and then they'll tell them when you get to be of age, don't worry, you'll be able to do it, and so on and so forth. And you might even be able to be the next president. And
that'll be better than anything else that we got working for us, because that is positive. That is so active, and that is just major. If we had a chance to speak to Baldwin or Martin Luther King or all of our ancestors that could tell us and teach us, they would tell us, you know it, they would tell us, listen, don't take this for granted.
Well,
don't take this for granted.
Because there was a time when they wouldn't let us vote.
Yeah. People had got shot and killed and dragged out and beat, water poured on them, and all kind of things.
Oh, yeah. And that story needs to be told time and time again, because as time goes by, sometimes we forget, you know, and the people died for the opportunity for others to get this power to make a difference in their lives and in their community and for their families, for this country. So I'm glad we're able to be in a show like this and talk to our neighbors and friends and whatnot about how we can all work together, participate in these important processes, and make a difference for for our community, for our city, for our neighbors, and family. And so I hope that we can come back time and time again on different topics.
Absolutely, of course we can.
To,
We can come back whenever you are available, because this is so important. And honestly, we can never say it enough, because we see where we're at now. The
we should
struggle.
try to have a one, maybe if you can do it, with some young people.
Yes.
You know, some
We
young
can
teenagers or
Sure.
young, you know, so they can sort of talk and see, you know, where they come, 18 and over, who
Absolutely.
registered to vote, and
Yeah.
see what they're talking about in terms of what they think is good for the neighborhood and how they would like to be a part of some work that's going on in the neighborhood to improve the neighborhood, help get their colleagues and their peers involved as well.
Absolutely.
Maybe they have some ideas that people like me could benefit from in terms of what we should do to do better.
Right, absolutely.
For them.
And not worry about the stuff that we really can't control, this collusion with the Russians and all these other things that is scary, to say the least, because life is so precious and valuable for all of us. You know, we're here, but we want to. Of course, we want America is great. It always has been great. So nobody's making it again. It never lost sight of being great. I mean, the way I could see it is that the fact is that we can have people come here from all over and have an equal part and share in developing and getting education. And the idea of just education being free now, there should be no excuse.
Oh, well, you're
Now
right about that.
Yeah, because education is free now. That is something that is just, you can compare that to a miracle.
That's gold.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a miracle. And other places, you don't get that opportunity.
Right.
And fortunately, you know, we have it. Our young people, to some extent, significantly are taking advantage of it. And they're going to grow and appreciate it more and get more and more education and ultimately wind up being able to do more and more for themselves, for their family, and more importantly, I guess, for their community.
Absolutely.
And so that's going to have a ripple effect of benefit for everybody, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes. Absolutely.
You might want to try to have a program with just some young people,
Right.
future leaders, so to
Right.
speak, that might want to share or understand some of the things that they're concerned about.
Well, that housing piece is something that's just major. You know, that because of that, just the homeless situation, and then the housing that's already in place is certainly failed. I mean, when you look at the news the other day, someplace in the Bronx, flooding for like about 4 or 5 days. I saw it on the news, and I thought to myself, I know they said it was from NYCHA, but in the Bronx, not one day. I think it was 3 or 4 days straight of complete flooding. People losing their everything in their apartment wiped out. And you know, you can see a thing like that, a tragedy like that happen in one day, but then the second day, then the third day, then just outrageous.
Yeah, that must have been...
somewhere in the Bronx.
Yeah, but it must have been a major pipe that burst. And
why wouldn't the individuals get on that and act on it? I mean, human beings. I mean, I imagine hundreds of people, families living in the building.
Sure. I guess it was beyond what they expected, and you know.
And the mold and all these other things that are
that's going to come behind it. That's the hardest. That's going to be
now. These children.
Well, they're going to have to put an emergency task force in there, medical task force, to make sure that mold issue and related issues that are health that can cause a health crisis are being immediately addressed. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And because not only you have that, you're also going to have vermin that are
absolutely
going to become a problem as
well. They're going to have exterminators.
It's going to be a big crisis.
Absolutely.
But we'll manage it. It'll get managed, but there'll be some inconvenience, and hopefully, you know, it won't be too much inconvenience and too much.
Well, if it is, they're going to have to find some kind of location for these people to relocate while they fix up all of these problems. Probably the better way to go about it, and certainly as far as people's lives and people, you know what I mean? So I just assumed that we have to,
Just stay focused on it.
yeah, we do. And that's just one of the problems. I know that you know about so many problems
Looks like we have
that
company.
we have to have another show.
Yes, indeed,
Because
without
our
a
time
doubt.
is almost up. But Mr. Perkins is just so wonderful, as you can see, and he gave you all that information. Please use that information. Let's work together to change things. We also take note of the most important thing that you can do, 18 and on up, is get out there and vote.
Very good.
And register to
Very
vote.
good. Very good.
That is the thing that I want you to know. And Mr. Perkins came all the way downtown here at his busy schedule to help everybody know how important that is. Fight for what's right. And guess what? We'll win.
We will win, without a
will
doubt.
win.
We have been winning, too.
Yeah.
And there are more victories in front of us that are ripe for us to pick and to share for the future of our families, the future of our young people, the future of our schools and their education, healthcare. So it's up to us.
Yeah.
We
don't have to let all our things be destroyed that we put in place. We can fight back and get them back established so that the world, and especially us here in America, will be living just great.
And Adam Clayton Powell said, it's in your hands.
Absolutely.
It's in your hands.
It's in your hands. Go put that ballot on, pull the whatever way you have, the old-fashioned way or the modern way, get out there and vote.
Vote, vote, vote.
Vote, vote, vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
B.E.A.T. 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 B.E.A.T.